a certain amount.
Okay, so here's part 2. We're going to make a piece of paper, and I'm going to identify some edges together. I'm going to identify this edge going this way with this edge going this way.
Yep.
And I'm going to identify this edge going up with this edge going up. And before we do the folding, and I had you bring over a piece of silly putty to help us think about this too, I want you to try to think in your mind, what is this going to look like? So which one would you like to fold up first, for example?
Let's fold up the silly putty.
On the paper, which edge would you like
Let's
to fold?
fold up the A edge.
Okay, and so what no, don't do it, but just do it in your mind. What happens now? What shape do I have?
You form like a cylinder like this. Sort of a longish cylinder.
Okay, I form a cylinder because when it folds up, this arrow pointing this way, this arrow pointing this way, they match up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can imagine that if I was a bug traveling around with a cylinder, here's a cylinder, paper towel cylinder, I would just go around and around and around, right?
Yeah.
And so we can identify that on the paper by saying if I just go down here, I just pop up back to the other side and I just keep going around and around and around. Do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
but now we're not quite done because we have the edges of the cylinder that we need to identify going in the same directions as each other.
and so maybe we can fold these B edges. Once we folded the A edges, we have the circles.
Okay, so once we fold the A edges, I have a cylinder that kind of goes this way, right?
Yeah.
And now I have to identify the opposite edges. How do I do that? How do I fold the cylinder around so that this edge matches that edge?
We fold the circles together. Sort of like that.
Okay, but you got to have, well, they don't just touch, they actually have to
meet.
Well, now you folded it on top of each other. Have these two edges met?
No, not yet. Let's see if I can get it unstuck. This is the only bad thing about silly putty.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, those circles actually have to meet each other. So how do you make them meet each other?
so like that.
Okay.
Now they.
So what
that-
shape do we have now?
We have a circle, sort of a circle. But like the edge is like a cylinder.
The edge is like a cylinder and the shape is sort of circular. What does that remind you of?
But, it's
Where do you see that shape in your daily life?
What? Like and a wheel.
It does kind of look like a wheel. It's got a hole in the middle though. It's got stuff on the outside, circular stuff on the outside going around in a circle.
A donut?
A donut. It does kind of look like a donut, right? This is a mathematical shape called a torus. Okay, there's also something just right over there that has this shape. What is it?
It's the gravy pot.
No.
The bagel.
Bring it over. Okay.
There's some bagels.
Right, some bagels look like this too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good job.